Hi everyone, welcome back to the Caprine Cottage Knitting Podcast. My name is Anne and today I'm joining you from my kitchen in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. So hello everyone, Happy New Year! I'm filming this on Wednesday, January 1st, the first day of the year. And I don't know, I have mixed feelings, I guess. I think that the new year there's a lot of like pressure around the new year, and I've been seeing like an insane uptick in like weight loss advertising and new year, new you. And yeah, I don't really participate in any of that. I find it really stressful, but at the same time, I do have like a, what do you call it? A routine, oh my gosh, why can't I think of the word that I'm trying to think of? I guess a habit, whatever you want to call it, like a ritual, I guess, of setting goals for myself for the new year. And so I did that yesterday. I set up my new line of publishing planner, and I started planning my projects for 2025. And so I'm going to tell you now, I guess, that that's going to be next week's video, because I really wanted to take a moment to kind of like look back on all the things I've made in the last 12 months. And I was sort of talking to Caleb about it this morning, but I feel like with social media and influencer culture and just the fast-pacedness of the way that our culture is now, we're always looking forward to the next thing, you know, like Caleb and I went out shopping. I think it was Saturday. So 3 days after Christmas, 4 days after Christmas. And the stores were already resetting for Valentine's Day. And I get it, you know, like make your money when you can, capitalism, all that kind of stuff. But I also think because we're always striving for the next thing, the next season, the next, what we're going to do next, right? Which I think can also be good. I think it's a two-sided thing where it's motivational. It allows us to have goals and move forward and achieve things. But I also think it's really important to slow down sometimes and take a look back at what you have done, because I think sometimes if you're just constantly striving for more, you can be left feeling a little bit empty and like you're never going to meet the expectation, even if it's like a self-imposed expectation of like, I want to make these things or I want to accomplish this. I think sometimes, and especially at this time of year, I think it's really important to have a little bit of time to like self-reflect, applaud yourself for what you did achieve, forgive yourself for the things you didn't, and you know, have a little moment of stillness with that. So that's what we're going to do today. So if that's like boring to you, I'm sorry. And I feel like I've been, you know, I started this YouTube journey thinking no one was going to watch it and sort of wanting it to be a way where I could document what I was making. And it's definitely still that, but I do feel like to some extent I've gotten caught up in like producing content and trying to make content that I think other people will like. And so this video is kind of just for me. I like really want to make this, so I have a record of everything I've made. And also, as many people have joined me since April when I started this, some of you may not have seen all of these projects or, as they were finished. I think, some of them were only featured in my very, very first video. And feel free to watch it if you want, but also, like, my first videos were rough, in my opinion. And maybe, in 2 years, I'll look back at this and feel the same way. So I think that's a sign of growth, though. So I don't know. That's all I have to say on that, I guess. But yeah, like I said a little bit ago, next week's video will be my knitting plans for next year. And I just realized I have it. I meant to bring with me, my book that has my plans for last year, because I also want to talk about the things that I didn't achieve, because I didn't make everything that I set out to, but I did pretty well. And when I looked at the list, from January. I mean, the list got changed a million times throughout the year. I crossed things off, I added things. But I did do most of the list. And so that was really satisfying to see, because I feel like when I made it, I was like, there's no way I'll ever make this many things or try this many new things. Yeah, so I just thought a little time to reflect on that would be nice. And maybe some of these projects you haven't seen. I will say that this is only knitting projects. I didn't spin very much this year. I did no weaving. And yeah, I just didn't feel like going in my handspun Tupperware thing to like fish out the skeins that I spun this year. But you get those videos, like some of them have their own videos, or yeah, you can find them if you want to. It's a little bit less exciting. So I think I'm just gonna quickly go down the list and just say the things that I didn't accomplish, because some of them will get pushed forward to next year and some of them may never happen. I changed my mind on some things. So one thing I didn't make was Allison Lutz, of her Instagram handle is Field Wonderful. She has a woodland, I think it's just woodland stocking pattern. She actually came out with 4 new charts for this holiday season, and I made one last year for Caleb, and I want to make one for myself, but I didn't have time, so that's something I didn't accomplish. That will get pushed to next holiday season, when I will again get bogged down with gifts and not make it. No, I'm kidding. Maybe I'll make it. So that's one thing I didn't do, so that's just been postponed again. One thing that I did, another thing I guess, is the Tara shawl by Gudrun Johnston, and I think, I don't know, 4 videos ago, I showed you my color palette for that, and I have since cast that on, so you'll see that in 2 weeks when I do a regular podcast episode. I'm assuming it'll be done. It's working up really fast, and I'm really enjoying it, and it's made me maybe change my mind about lace knitting a little bit, so I'll talk more about that in 2 weeks. But so I didn't finish that, I didn't accomplish that, but I started it, so I'm counting it as a half. The next one, it's also a half, and that's the Rad Radish socks. I knit 1 sock, and then I didn't do the other one, which I pretty much never do that. Like, I never end up on Sleeve Island. I never, do like, have like single sock syndrome, 1 mitten syndrome. Like, I'm very much a finisher. So that was like painful for me to not finish, but I think that will be a nice thing to finish up in the spring, because like radishes are a springy vegetable food, thing. I guess I don't know what I'm saying. The next one is a big project, and that is the Hansel Hap, also by Gudrun Johnston, and the Tara shawl was sort of going to be my warm-up to that. And so since I didn't get Tara done, I didn't even purchase yarn for the Hansel. And if I'm going to be honest, I don't know if that is going to be on the agenda for this year. I'm definitely going to make it in my lifetime. I just don't know if it's going to be a 2025 project. And then, yeah, the next thing that I didn't do was, or that I didn't do and like still haven't plans to make, because I'm noticing here I crossed off also the Puri Shop cardigan by Mary Jane Mucklestone. That is still like in my periphery, like I may make it, but I ended up choosing, again, I'll talk about this more next week, but I ended up choosing to go, like I've never made a cardigan, and I decided to go with a different cardigan. That was going to be my first cardigan, and I changed my mind, and there's lots of reasons. I'll talk about it. So, again, maybe I'll make that sometime, but I don't think it's going to be this year. Another pattern that I had on my list is the Harriet bonnet, which I don't think I've ever even discussed that on here. So I feel like I wrote it down and then immediately changed my mind. I do really want to make a knit like bonnet or hood at some point, but yeah, I kind of stepped away from accessory knitting until the end of this year. And also my year kind of only started in April, well, March maybe, because also, yeah, today is the 1-year anniversary of baby Phoenix, Feeny the goat, moving into our home. So yeah, this day marks 12 whole months of being a goat nurse, burn victim nurse, mom to a toddler goat. Now it's spicy teenager goat that lives in the house. So I didn't really have a full, I took many months off of knitting. Like I stopped in December and then didn't pick up my needles again until I think late February or March of 2024. So there's a gap there. So some of these projects that I'll show you that I finished this year were started in the previous year. But anyway, on to the next thing that I didn't finish or make, but I intend to make, and that's the Cloud Bow dress by Reed Keys. I am definitely making this. It's on my list for next year. I'll talk more about it. And again, if I remember which episodes, I'll put cards, but I talked a lot about this and about procuring the yarn for this, and I intended to make it this summer, but I just got caught up doing other things, and I want it to be like a summery project because it's like a nice lightweight summery kind of thing. And I'm not like a what do you call it, like a summer knitter. Like I just make winter stuff all the time or wool stuff all the time. So I think it'll be fun for me to try a like actual summer knits project. I'm realizing this video is going to be so incredibly long, but then I think there's only one. There's only one more that I didn't make, and that's the Calico Socks by Morgan. I think it's Pennish. I don't know. She's Knitting Nelly on Instagram. I really should find out how to say her last name because I'm pretty sure I always say it wrong. But yeah, it's her pattern, the Calico Socks. And again, I'm definitely making those next year. I have the yarn, and I think that's going to be another spring summer project. And yeah, so that's like my list of things I didn't accomplish. And then everything else here, I finished. I don't know what order I want to do this in. I guess I'm just going to go in order of like what like shape things are. Some water. So I'm going to start with garments, and then I have one accessory, and then I'll talk about my socks. So the biggest thing is that I've knit 3 sweaters, or I finished 3 sweaters in 2024, which is like wild to me. The lower low I did start in, I could go on Ravelry real fast and look that up. I think I cast it on in November or December of 2023. October, even earlier. But then, like I said, I didn't work on it for months. So that got started in October. I wanted to say too, maybe I already said this? Oh my gosh, I should have made notes. I'm so sorry. But I finished 13 projects. That's how many I did. So a little more than one a month if you break it out that way. But I only have 9. I can count. I have 9 of them here because the others were gifts. But you've already seen that like really in detail because there were the mittens and the tam for my mom, which she received and has them now. And then Caleb's cowl that he's kind of wearing as like a hat. And then also the bandana test knit I did, which again was given to Caleb. And we live together. Like he lives in this house. It's somewhere here, but I haven't seen it in months. So again, if I can find a card, I'll put it up the episode that's in. But I'll just start here with, this is my favorite make of 2024. You've seen this 100 times. Also, I'm so sorry I didn't like depill these or wash them before bringing them here to you, and everything here, well, the socks probably don't, well, some of them, but everything could probably stand a good wash at this point. I don't wash my knits very often. I'm sorry if that's gross to you, but I work pretty much only with 100% wool, and they just don't need it so much. And I'm sure many of you relate to that. I feel like not everybody washes everything all the time. So this is my favorite thing I've ever made. I can say that with wholehearted assuredness, and it is the Lower Low Pullover by Mary Jane Mucklestone. This is from her book Fair Isle Weekend, which honestly is like one of my favorite books I've ever bought. I love it so much. I want to make every single project in there. I think I've made I've made at least 3 things from that book. I could be forgetting one, but I would make all of them. But so I was thinking I would, at least the garments I would try on really quick so you guys can see them one last time. I say one last time as if you're not going to see this 100 times. But here she is in all her cropped glory. Yeah, I love this so much. If, you know, like how cartoon characters like wear the same outfit every day, if I was a cartoon character, I feel like this sweater would be my like uniform, my cartoon character uniform. And I definitely see myself making another one in the future. And at first I was like a little sad about these shorter sleeves, but I've grown to like it. I always roll and push my sleeves up anyway, and yeah, I'm realizing I just like a shorter sleeve. Yeah, this is covered in pills because I wear it all the time. But it's great, and I want a dark colored one. I sort of foresee next year being a year of brown. Like, brown is my favorite color. Take that as you will. But I would love one of these with a dark brown body, or even black. I do wear black. I wear more brown than black. Like, brown is my go-to neutral. So there's one sweater done. And so, yeah, it took me from October until August to make it. Because it just was slow going. And then, like, beginning, it's a funny project. I talked about this in the video when I finished this, but, like, it was a weird project because, like, the bottom to the color work went, like, pretty quick. And then you knit in the round for a while, and I felt like it took, or it wasn't even knitting in the round. You knit in the round for a while, and then you split, and it was knitting the back, and it just took so long. But then once I, like, got through that, all the, like, shoulders, neckline, arms was really fast. So I will say, if you make this, like, don't be discouraged by that section of the back of the sweater. It gets better, I promise. And it's so worth it. It's so worth it. So that's the first garment I made. I have this basket a little precariously balanced. So the second thing I finished or made was the crowberry sweater. Again, you've seen this a million times if you've been here for a while. If not, I hope you enjoy. But this is designed by Helene Magnusson. She is an Icelandic designer. She lives in Iceland. She also hosts like knitting and hiking tours in Iceland, and like, sign me up. Does anyone want to fund me to go? Just kidding. But seriously, it looks so cool. She recently was written up in the New York Times. Wait, yes. It was the Times and not the New Yorker. I think it was the New York Times about her tours and everything. And my mom everybody sent it to me, and they were like, have you heard of this? And I'm like, yes, I made the sweater she designed. But so this is from Modern Daily Knitting Field Guide. And I feel like this was sort of a big theme for my knitting year, where I really spent a lot of time focusing on Icelandic yarn, Icelandic adjacent knits, and sort of, yeah, like taking my path in that area where I feel like, you know, I've been knitting for my whole life, but I didn't really get super into it in a more serious way until, I don't know, 3 years ago, I guess. And what really started, I've talked about this before, was I went to Rhinebeck in 2021, and Mary Jane Mucklestone did an author talk, and Gudrun Johnson was there with her, and they were talking about Shetland knitting and colorwork knitting, and I've always been really obsessed with Scotland as a place, Shetland as a place, but that really kind of like was fuel to my fire, and that's how I got back into it. So I feel like my focus was initially on Shetland knitting, Fair Isle knitting, and using Shetland yarn. And then this year, I mean, I did some of that too, but less than normal. And I really had a big focus, I would say, on Icelandic yarn, which also Iceland holds a special part for me, or in my heart, whatever you want to say. But I'll try this on really quick. I also love this sweater. It was hard to pick a favorite of the things I made, but that lower low is just so easy to wear. And I love Shetland wool the most. It's so, I hope this is not on backwards. I need to get those little things you put in the back, a little tag. I guess I could just put a ribbon. But anyway, here it is. I think it's, yeah, you can see the short row shaping. It's like, I think it's on the right way. This, I definitely made the sleeves a little long, but this is like so oversized and like chunky and cozy that I feel like it works. It's not as much like a uniform everyday sort of thing for me. It's more like, oh, it's cold today, I want to be cozy kind of wear. Yeah, I love it. I'm proud of it. This was my second Pelotolopi project, and it was such a joy to really get to know that yarn and those fibers. Yeah, I don't know. This video is gonna be so long. I need to hurry. My computer will just not allow it. So that's my, at least when I talk about socks, it won't, there's not a lot to say about socks. But that is my second garment. The fact that I'm even making garments, like that I'm capable of making garments, blows my mind. That seemed like an insurmountable feat at one point, as well as colorwork knitting. And I think every single thing I made this year, except for maybe 2, are stranded colorwork projects. So living the dream, baby. There was definitely a time when I was so intimidated, oh God, by colorwork knitting that I never thought I would make a single colorwork project. And here we are. So goes to show you can achieve your dreams. This is my final garment. You've seen this the most recently. This is the Halibut sweater by Caitlin Hunter, and this was my Rhinebeck sweater. I did get a tag for this, a little wooden tag from Catrinkles that I still need to sew on this. It's in my like notions pouch, and every time I see it, I'm like, oh, I should do that because it will take 10 seconds. But I also kind of can't decide where I want to put it. Like, I feel like I want to put it on the back neck on the outside, but then also I sort of want to put it like on this like side seam bit, like a little bit by the hem, or like on the lower back. Maybe that's cute. I don't know. Now I'm just rambling. But yeah, this is my first official Rhinebeck sweater, and I made it, I think, in 2 months. I kind of chose this pattern on a whim. I bought the yarn thinking I was going to make something completely different. So yeah, a lot of things get shuffled when it comes to yarn planning, but I'll pop this on super quick. And yeah, there was like, you guys went through the process of some of the trials and tribulations with this sweater. I'm so happy I went with the mock neck, do you say mock turtleneck? It is not offensive. I was afraid it would be offensive to me, but it's totally fine. And I really like the look of it. It's like nothing else I have. Again, this one, the sleeves are too long. Like, this is annoying to me. And I pretty much only wear it with them flipped back like this, which also like is kind of fine. I'm way too lazy. I know like normal people would just, they would just like rip it back and put on a new cuff. I am not that kind of person. Like, I highly doubt that I will ever fix this. But I think it looks, besides the fact that I didn't cut off, like, I always leave a little bit of an end after I weave in my ends when I block, and then I'll go back and snip them flush. But I haven't done that. So they're just like hanging there. But besides that, I kind of like the rolled back cuff. I think it's kind of cute. Maybe I'm just saying that to make myself feel better about the fact that I'm never going to fix it. Because the sleeves really are too long. I don't know. I'm happy with it. This yarn is super soft. This is Scout by Kelborn Woolens. I think it's a Peruvian wool. But it's really nice, and it seems to be wearing really well. I'm always a little nervous about very fine wools because I feel like they often don't. They pill more easily. But this seems pretty rugged. I mean, and everything that I'm showing you needs to be depilled, gleaned, whatever you call it. But I'll get to it eventually. Now I'm all disheveled. This is why I never try things on in my podcast, because I end up all like frazzled. But yeah, there she is. My third and final garment of the year. Woohoo. Okay, then I like set this up all nice and cute and I'm just gonna destroy it. I'll have to rearrange it later. This is the next thing, and this is technically an accessory. However, I would say that this can almost fall in the garment category because of the sheer size of it. This might have been the second thing I finished, the first thing I finished this year. And yeah, this year I just, like I was saying, I was so inspired by sort of like Iceland and that like cold northern vibes. I told you guys before that I really enjoyed Casey Musgrave's new album, Deeper Well, and all of the like promotional stuff, and the video for that song was filmed in Iceland. And I just feel like in the early spring last year, I was kind of emotionally not in the best place. Like I had just had the overwhelm of like Feeney's healing, and that was like my escape, was to like dream of being on a northern island and knitting. And so yeah, that's sort of how this came to be. This was my first ever time working with Plojalopi. I have made things out of Let Lopi, I think, before, or something similar, but nothing in a serious capacity. And this is the Wildwood Shawl by Melody Hoffman, or Bee Mandarines, and this thing is humongous. I feel like I can't even show it to you, but there. I feel like I'm so happy I made this. I made it kind of like too late in the year to enjoy it properly until this, like now, like until the fall and winter, but it's so cozy and great. I love to just have this in my car, because you can wear it as a scarf. Like it can be like one of those, oh my god, I'm gonna knock something over, a big giant blanket scarf. Like, okay, anyway, but you can kind of have it be like a scarfy thing, and this is so cozy. Or here, I'll put it on as a shawl. You know, you could do traditional, traditional shawl. It's like really good. You could definitely, I feel like this is almost big. No, you would need to belt it. You could belt it and have it kind of be wrap. I just think it's such a practical item. I love triangle shawls as something to just have in your wardrobe. I think it's so practical. It's easier than a sweater. You can put it on over a sweater. You know, you can only layer so many sweaters before you're drowning. But so that's my last other like big yarn volume thing. Because this thing is humongous. I can't remember. I'm sure it's in the video, but I think it uses at least 3 plates, if not 4. So that's like 300 grams. It's close to sweater quantity, I would say. And so now I'm just going to quickly run through all the socks I made. I made 5 pairs of socks, which is, that looks messy, I don't know, more than I expected. I think part of me wanted to make like 1 pair of socks every month, which I'll never achieve that. I'm too slow, but I did pretty good, and I did start later in the year. So the first ones, because I cast these on in 2023 too, let me see. These I started also in October. So it was like I ambitiously started things in October, and then my life became chaos and I didn't touch them until like April. But then I finished these in February, right after my birthday. So they are, oh my gosh, I just looked at it. It's gonna be the 3rd time I remember the name. The Magic Toadstool Socks by Stone Knits. I couldn't remember if they were like, because there's also another mushroom sock pattern that I think is called the Fairy Ring Socks, which I definitely need to make those too. But here they are, 1 pair of socks. These I had, not a gauge issue, but I was inconsistent. You can see that this one, the mushrooms are much smaller. This one, they're much bigger. This one barely fits on my foot. Again, anyone else would probably go change it, but do you see a theme here? I never go back and fix things. I mean, I do in the moment. Like if I catch a mistake soon enough, I'll go fix it. But like something like this, it's enough. It's fine. So that's 1 sock. The next ones are the Tang Fair Isle Socks by Jeanette Budge. And I was gonna say these are my favorite socks I made this year, but I think the Starflight socks take the cake for that one. But these I like for their how they feel on my feet. They also are cute, but they're made of Jamieson and Smith 2-ply jumper weight. And the foot is held double. Again, I went into more detail about this in the video where I finished them, but I do love them. I think they're great. And yeah, they need a wash. They were on my dresser, like in the to be washed pile when I grabbed them for this. But this project also made me really want to make more 100% Shetland wool socks because they feel good on the feet. Then the next ones, I don't remember. I think I finished these next. These are the Lake socks by Lotte Lothgren. Oh, I lied. So this was another non-color work project, but it has cables on the leg back. I love these too. They're really nice. I don't wear them enough. They were really fun to make. Oh yeah, and then the yarns for these two are Little Lionhead Knits. And the yellow is Little Lionhead Knits on this one too. The white I think is something else. I don't remember. I have like white sock yarn kicking around and it's long lost its label. Then these are the Chaussettes Somard by Lysandra Hordon. Oh, I hope that's her name. You'll find it written here if I'm wrong. And yeah, Lobster socks. Again, these are just made in regular superwash nylon blend sock yarn. An assortment of brands. And I remember telling you guys how I like messed up and the red bled onto the white and it was totally my fault, but you can't tell. I feel like in the video it doesn't show as much as in real life. So I didn't even have to tell you. I think it's just good when people show their mistakes because then it makes you realize that we're all the same. And then my final socks, which I think these are my favorite socks I made. These are the Starflight socks by Allison Lutz. Again, Field Wonderful at Field Wonderful on Instagram. And they're so cute. Oh, I love these so much. I love the length, which I don't know. There was that whole ankle socks are out thing, but I don't care. I love ankle socks. Not like no-show socks, but ankle socks. Yeah, I think they're my favorite. I don't even know if I've worn these yet. They look too nice to have been worn by me. I admit sometimes I'm a little precious about my hand knit socks. I do wear them, but like I like to wear them when I have a shoe that you can see the sock. For 2025, I have sort of like some themes, I guess, that I think will carry through the projects I'm choosing. And I think that it was fun to start planning for next year and see what themes came through for my projects last year. And so like I was saying, I went on and on earlier about the Icelandic vibes and really digging into that fiber. And I've always loved Icelandic wool. A big amount of exploration when it came to trying that fiber in a lot of different facets, including processing my Icelandic fleece, which hopefully a new video will come about that sooner rather than later, now that the holidays are over. Another theme that I think I explored a little bit this year, which I think I'm going to step away from, was sort of, this was my year of really outwardly joining the online knitting community. And so I feel like I was definitely inspired by things that were a little bit trendy, or I have never been one to like buy indie dyed yarn, and I really, like dug deep into that, and that was really joyful and fun. But I now have a bunch, and I think, I'm going to step away from that a little bit. Definitely still, I pretty much only buy indie dyed sock yarn, because the truth is my love lies in fiber, and I really prefer a more rustic wool when it comes to like garments or even accessories really, but socks, you know, socks have a different place in the world. I would say they are beautiful, but they're also the most utilitarian thing, sort of. So they have to, you know, they don't have to, I guess. Like, I know a lot of people do, you know, no nylon socks, but for me, I feel like I will just destroy them in 5 seconds. So yeah, I don't know. Those were some like kind of themes for 2024, I feel like. And also trying new yarns. I feel like I tried a lot of new yarns. Like I bought the Kelborn Woolens, sorry, you can't even see it, it's here. The Kelborn Woolens Scout on a whim a little bit because I really liked the color. And so that was a very new to me yarn, a very different to me yarn. It's very soft, it's very smooth, which, you know, I'm very much like woolen spun, rustic, unspun, that sort of thing. And that's like very smooth. I would say to me, it feels merino soft, but yeah, I'm a bad judge of softness. So other people are probably like, absolutely not. I'm trying to think if there are any other themes. I mean, the constant theme that is Fair Isle, stranded color work, traditional Fair Isle kind of motifs, and using Shetland wool. Hint, hint. More to come in 2025. I don't think it will ever go away, but I do feel like I did less of that this year than normal. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's all I have to say. I really wanted to have something for myself, and maybe you will enjoy it too, but of all my projects together, so I can really kind of look back and yeah, see the things I've accomplished. It feels embarrassing to say that I'm proud of myself to thousands of people, but I am. I guess I always think of myself as a pretty slow knitter, and I mean, I think I am a slow-ish knitter. I don't like feel a way about that. Like I don't feel badly about it, but I just think it's a truthful thing. And so to have finished 13 projects is crazy to me. Like in the past, I would make like 3 knitted things in a year. So that's an achievement in itself. And I'm also really happy with all the things I've made. Like, I don't think I made anything that I'm like disappointed in, or that I won't wear, or, you know, that I like dislike how it came out so much that I want to undo it. Because that happens to me sometimes, where I just like, sometimes I make a project and I'm just like, I hate this and I'm never gonna wear it. But so it was really nice to, you know, I've been really working on learning more about making a gauge swatch and fitting things to yourself. I mean, my fit is not perfect on these, but I think I'm getting better at it. I think I'm understanding it a little bit more. I don't know. I feel like I'm now a little bit out of time. So I just wanted to say a big thank you again to everybody. You all have been so gracious and kind. I'm hoping now that things, you know, in this new year, I'm hoping for a little bit more calmness and less animal ailments, so I can be a little more focused on my own work. But who knows? They are little beings who have their own lives and stressors and different things that we can't control. So other than that, yeah, I guess tell me about how your knitting 2024 went. I think that some of you have already said that, and I feel like by the end of this year, you're like, oh my gosh, just move on to something new. But I wanted to give all this stuff kind of its own place to be. Yeah, like, so how many projects did you finish? Are you happy with what you made? That sort of thing. Just let me know if you want to. I love to hear what other people are doing. That's like, I think one of, if not my favorite part of this whole thing is like getting to talk to other people. And I know I've been really behind on answering comments, so I'm sorry about that. That's sort of, if I'm going to make a New Year's resolution, it's going to be answering your comments in a more timely manner. Normally I post on Friday, and I always set it my goal to like answer comments by Monday. Yeah, I haven't been keeping up with that. I'm so sorry. So if I left you hanging, I'm gonna answer them maybe today. I hope. So maybe you will have been answered by the time you see this. If not, I'm so sorry. But yeah, again, thank you so much for joining me. Goodbye 2024. Hello 2025. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe in a year we'll be back here having a very different conversation, or the same. I don't know. But wherever you are, I hope you have a great week, a great weekend, and happy knitting. Bye.